All right, guys, just letting you know I'll be live on here tonight at 6 o'clock UK time if you want to come along for an answer about all things LFC. We've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to go over 2 articles by Craig Hope, one by Luke Edwards. We're going to touch on something from Ben Jacobs, David Ornstein. There's a big Trent video coming up, which if you enjoy that series, you might like that. We have a lot to talk about. There's Rodrigo as well. We got a full schedule today. YouTube only sends out 3 notifications in a 24-hour period, right? So if you have notifications turned on, you won't be informed of all the videos. And I don't think that they necessarily all appear in your feed either. So what I'm trying to say here is if you want to make sure you see all of my videos today, you need to get in the habit of clicking on my username and manually checking the channel to see what videos are listed. All right. Now, we're going to talk about this article by Craig Hope. It was published last night. Basically, Newcastle co-owner holds talks with Alexander Isak at the Liverpool Target's home as the club look to reintegrate him into the squad. So obviously, Liverpool fans, talking about this. Oh, could that be it? Is it going to change anything? I went over it, the analysis with Dave, my AI. I've been training my AI for over a year now to analyse football reports, the journalists that write them, and the platforms that push them on us. I did go over it with him. I'm not going to read the article to you. I'm sure you know about all this anyway. But basically, the summary is that the Newcastle co-owner and a PIF director, visited Isak at his home to convince him to stay and to return to training. The meeting took place before last night's game. A new contract is on the table if Isak agrees to stay for the season. Isak had made his desire to leave clear before the meeting. Newcastle have failed to meet the 2-striker replacement condition to sell him. Liverpool's only offer, £110 million, was rejected. No second bid yet. The club still prefer to keep him and want him reintegrated into house squad. The PIF chairman was not at the meeting, though he's fully backing the effort to keep Isak, and Isak was nowhere near last night's game. Basically, I'm just going to quickly skip through some of the breakdown here because I want to focus on the more recent article. To be honest with you, I'm sure you know about all this. It's not, it's a panic play, not a plan. If Newcastle were in control, they wouldn't be sending co-owners to his house. That's not a strategy. That's begging. PIF are now personally intervening. They're doing a 180 because they failed in the market. In other words, the new contract offer, it's something that wasn't offered previously, which they refused to do. But now they're doing a 180 because they failed in the market. They're desperate to, keep him there. But, if I was a Newcastle fan after losing that game last night, you could argue he cost them, You had Gordon that was fired up to fuck. We're going to be talking about that in another... I think in the other video by Hope, which they're trying to pin that on Isak. But if I think if I was a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't want him anywhere near the club again, to be honest with you. Basically, the offer is not about loyalty or belief, the new contract offer. It's about damage control and avoiding embarrassment. It's not a dead deal. This is, of course, Dave's opinion. This is not a dead deal. This is the club trying to stop a total collapse of internal order. If a late striker deal somehow happens, the sale is still viable. Newcastle didn't walk away from the deal. They stalled out, and this meeting proves it. The club are throwing everything at this last-minute salvage attempt because they failed to execute the sale they wanted. A new contract is now being used as a PR band-aid, not a reward. Unless Isak blinks, this feels like another failed move dressed up as loyalty. After the game, I'm sure you know this as well, Eddie Howe said, "I'm not party to the talks that have been happening. I have no idea where that stands. I've been focused on the team. I'm not party to any discussions that have happened today." It doesn't sound like he's in the loop there, but then again, if he's, focused on the game and the players that are available and want to play for the club. But he's not putting any confidence out. If I'm a Newcastle fan and I'm reading that, I'm like, well, that doesn't sound too great, does it? yeah, or is he left out of the loop? Oh, yeah, I don't know. What I am going to do though, guys, is leave it there, because this video is just about bringing this to your attention. Really, I'm sure you know about it, but maybe you don't. Dave summarises it by saying this feels like a club scrambling, not a club in control. Yeah, I agree with it. I don't think it changes anything, but who knows? Craig Hope has said since this article that he doesn't think anything's changed on that front, and yeah, that's it. I know it's not a very exciting video, guys, but I had to touch on it, and it just seems all very fucking bizarre. If I was a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't want him anywhere near the club. I did see this. Someone replied to this article when it was published on X, and someone said, as if this is the PIF delegation at his house speaking to Isak, motherfucker, you better stay on next time we meet, it's in an embassy. Fucking hell. I thought that was funny. Maybe I shouldn't find it funny, but I thought it was funny. Maybe some people won't get that, but we'll leave that there. So, what do you think? If you're a red or if you're, a barcode, whatever, do you think there's been any change from this situation? A player that's gone on strike? What happens if, I can understand it. Like, when the game finished, I was like, if you were a Newcastle owner, you would be like, over my dead body, are we going to sell you? Do you know what I mean? Through anger, all right? We're not going to sell you. And if we haven't got striker options, well, we need you here. But if he's refusing to play, what happens there? And if the transfer window closes and he's still at Newcastle, if you're a Newcastle fan and he suddenly slides back in, are you going to be like, no, that's only because you didn't get your fucking move? Or are fans fickle and they'll be like, well, if he scores, it don't matter, easily forgiven? I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. How the fuck could I know? I don't know, maybe I shouldn't concern myself too much in the Newcastle side of things, but I know Newcastle fans are angry with Liverpool, Newcastle fans are angry with Isak, but I can't help but think that they should be angry with the people running the fucking club, to be honest with you. I don't think they've handled it very well, but maybe Newcastle fans will say, well, how have they not handled it well? Because we've not rolled over to Liverpool and we've not rolled over to the player. But if I was a Newcastle fan and, Why are so many players, why are Newcastle failing to get alternatives over the line? Because if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be like, please just get someone in that wants to play for us and get rid of this motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? That's from their point of view. I'm not saying he's a motherfucker because maybe he's got genuine grievances about, contracts not being honoured or, pledges not being honoured or whatever. He obviously feels something. That's not our business. But if I was a Newcastle fan, I think I'd be raging. I'd be like, I don't want you fucking back here. I mean, Newcastle fans, I'm sure they're gutted after last night's game because they would want to twat us, wouldn't they, with everything that's gone on. But they lost that game because he wasn't there. The best player, best striker, refusing to play. And now you think you can come back to us after the window's closed? I don't think I'd be saying that if I was a Newcastle fan. I'd be like, you can fuck off. Don't give a fuck if we get a penny for you. That'd be my attitude. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. I just needed to catch up on it. But I need to go to this other article now. We're going to do this in another video here. How Newcastle can get Alexander Isak back. And the two key events setting it in motion. Okay, so this is the most recent article. That one was from last night and I just wanted to touch on it. All right, guys. If you found the video informative in any way, shape or form, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. And, if you want to get me a beer or a coffee, there's a love art under the video. It's called a super thanks. And, that's how you can support my channel. And I always give a shout out to people that do that in my morning briefings. There is a morning briefing today. It's an hour long. It's on my other YouTube channel, the Duncan Oldham channel. The link to that's in the video description. And it's also on the screen round about now somewhere. I don't know. All right, let's crack on and do the other Craig Hope one. All right, guys.